Okay, we're here live at the EDS conference in Wesley Chapel, Florida, a stone's throw away from Tampa. I am here with my good friend Yitzchok Saftlas from the Bottom Line Marketing Group. How are you today?
Baruch Hashem, it is such a treat to be here with you, Jonah.
I got to tell you, the first time we met wasn't that long ago.
That's right.
And when I got a personalized video email from you, that I was like, it was like a quasi-animated clip, and I was like, I have to listen to this. So I'm like, okay,
and it wasn't AI; it was me.
It was you. No, exactly. It was like in the flesh, but it was such a classic. Like, this guy obviously knows what he's doing in marketing, because like I have to click on this because there's like a smiling, half animated talking to me. And I'm like, all right, I got to hear what this is all about, and you hooked me in. So I was like, hey, this is someone who's definitely worth talking to.
Thank you.
But you have a storied career. Give a little bit about who you are, what your background is, and we're going to dive into some of the development work that we're doing with schools. But I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you got your start.
Amazing. First of all, it's a tremendous honor to be with you. Really, it's we've been mutually observing each other's careers over the last few years, decades, yes, perhaps, and now we're finally on the set together.
Yes.
So it began, very interesting story. I got a scholarship from YU to go to FIT. I may not look it, but I went to FIT.
All right.
So and then Baruch Hashem, great Siyata Shmaira, Pesach Krohn, is a very dear friend, got me a job at Art Scroll. So from there to have the zechus, the opportunity to be trained by Rav Meir Zlotowitz, Rav Shia Brander, Rav Nosson Sherman, was just like, that was my West Point. That was.
Yeah.
And then we started Bottom Line in '92 and had the zechus of servicing hundreds of nonprofits, yeshivas.
Was that your intended audience when you started? What were you envisioning? Because there's always an evolution of every company.
Yeah.
So when you started, what was your motivations when you were starting Bottom Line?
My motivation was to create a from Madison Avenue agency, marketing firm. That was really, because remember, I saw that world. I was trained at Fashion Institute of Technology, FIT in Manhattan.
You saw what it could be.
I saw what could be, and I was so appreciative to Hashem that I understood, the real. I mean, my teacher in logos developed a logo for Fisher Price. My photography teacher shot for Mad Magazine. Okay. He shot for DuPont. So I was trained by some of the greatest minds in this space, but always wanted, to not necessarily have to schlep into Manhattan, and to have a team provide parnasa for Yidden, and to produce Madison Avenue type work in the Hamisha world. That was my dream.
Wow. Okay. So, and this was 1990.
That was in 89. In late 89, Rabbi Krohn said there's an opportunity at Art Scroll. I'm like, wow. I went down.
When did you open your own?
So I started in 92.
92.
So I was at Art Scroll for 3 years.
Okay. And your early clients were companies, retail, nonprofit?
It was a combination. In fact, one of my earliest clients, I'm still servicing them today. It's Yeshiva Tells Riverdale. Oh. Yeshiva Tells alumni in Riverdale. Been servicing them close to 30 years.
That's incredible.
It was very special. Yeah.
Wow. Very nice. Okay, so look, our audience is predominantly Jewish schools.
Right.
Our company and Altruicity and the book is focused on donor retention, relationship-driven fundraising, cultivating and stewarding donors in ways that are authentic and long-standing. I'd love to get your perspective, because we obviously. We kind of, like you said, we have a symbiotic relationship. Mm-hmm. We're looking at it from the lens of on a strategic level, what's going to make someone a partner with the organization long term. Mm-hmm. But the vehicle, the way to do it, is through proper marketing channels. We don't provide marketing. We look for people who know what they're doing. So you've had a 20,000 foot view over the years, and I'm wondering, what are some major kind of evolutionary aspects that you've seen? Saying what works and what maybe with the fact that there's used to be a handful of organizations, and now there's like a dime a dozen, and there's so much clutter. Like, what have you found to be some major takeaways in the evolution of our space?
First of all, like you mentioned, and for all the great executive directors out there, yeshivas out there, the role of someone like yourself cannot be stressed enough, because they are, and especially in our world, these heroes, these tzaddikim, are pulled on all different levels. And they need someone who has like the 20,000 foot view, like you mentioned, in order to keep them aligned, keep their vision focused, keep them on track, and to hold them measurable, accountable. So therefore, that cannot be, it can't be stressed enough. It can't be stressed enough. As it relates to marketing, the goal is that marketing is to create the narrative of the school, shows what makes them unique, and to amplify their message and to get it out there to the ones that need to hear from the school. So, for example, parent body, okay? RYNJ was a client many years ago.
Sure.
They had at one of their annual fundraising events. So they had their video team. I think it was Lennox, who created it, and there was a great scene that really sums this up so well. The kid comes off the school bus, runs into the mother's arm. The kid is, let's say, in 3rd grade, runs into the mother's arm, and the mother says, "Hey, Shmuley, what did you learn in school today?" And what do you think the kid said? Nothing. Of course.
Nothing. It's always nothing.
So how is a parent supposed to truly understand and appreciate everything, all the Mesiras Nefesh that a school is doing for their child?
When your kid is being
when
the
a kid's
worst
being told,
ambassador ever.
Right, I learned nothing. Hello?
Right.
So marketing's role is to communicate everything that the school is doing on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, everything that's being done for the child on a regular basis. How in the world are the parents supposed to be? And by the way, they shared with me, Rabbi Shmuel Goldstein, who was the dean at the time, he mentioned that it was a very, very, very low scholarship rate from the parents of the school. He says because they've come to appreciate everything that the school is doing. And then he added, also parenthetically, he said, happy parents equals happy children. Right. So he says there was even an educational benefit and for example, we had put out with the school monthly newsletters, not even quarterly, not once a year, quarterly newsletters that was filled with, and it was done professionally and it was done well, and it engaged the parents, and that led to donations, educational improvement.
There's a default setting that because people pay day school tuition for a service, right, for educating their children, there's a transactional dynamic. That's the baseline. But what you described is when there's an understood value, right, and say like, what am I really getting out of this experience?
Right.
And you say, you know what, this deserves philanthropic dollars. This supports, deserves my time to be involved as a parent. When you transcend the, I pay for a service and you give me something back, then it elevates the whole thing. And I think that's always like the goal of anyone who's in this work is say, how do we get the value to be understood by the audience, by the parents, and by the grandparents,
and if I may,
the community.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Oh, that's true in everything.
It's true in everything, and it needs to be drilled in. Because I can't tell you how many times an executive director will come in and say, and they'll say, you know what, I think I need marketing, but really my parents understand, what. So,
You're fighting for market share. There's a lot of schools out there, a lot of great organizations.
And even the schools themselves, how are the parents supposed to appreciate everything going on? Are they walking the floor of the school?
No,
they're not. Most are not. Almost none are not.
In fact, the ones who pay the full tuition are the least squeaky wheeled. So they're the ones who are not on the radar screen of the schools. They're paying their full tuition. They might have greater capacity to give, and there's zero connection with that because they're not the ones who are causing the not problems, but they're not the ones who require the same tender love and care because they're just paying the bill.
And by the way, when you talk about TLC, very, very important. There's one school in particular, which I won't mention the name. I was at we service a lot of nonprofits. We service corporate clients as well. One time I was in the room with a corporate client, and the CEO, someone in the executive suite said to me, "I'm so curious. Do you do work for such and such a school?" I said, "Yes." She said to me, it was a lady. She said, "They must not need my money."
Whoa. Okay. How did you come to that conclusion?
Hi. Well, so she said to me, she said, "I'm an alumnus of that school. And they never reach out to me. They never connect with me. And she's very wealthy." And so I said, oh, wow. Okay, now, of course, I did the next step. I realized why HaKadosh Baruch Hu put me in the room for that meeting.
Right, obviously.
I was in touch with the school. Right. And the rest is history. They renamed the school after that. The rest is I had a yad in that gift. But
something I learned early in my career was that if someone is upset at the school, it means that they care, right? If
Beautiful.
they're indifferent, if I think about a relationship, if my wife was indifferent to me, then I know there's a real problem. But if she's mad at me, it means that she has expectations of me.
Right.
She wants things of me. And
she cares. That's right. That's a Mila.
Right. So it's not something that would make you go, oh, I guess this person's not giving this here. No.
Right.
Go find out. Go have a conversation with them. That's where the relationship starts.
That's right.
It's actually usually often an opportunity. People don't see it as an opportunity, but if they're upset, it's an opportunity to get in front of them and say, okay, how do we make this right?
In fact, years ago, I interviewed someone who wrote a book called Hug Your Haters.
Ooh. First of all, I love anything with alliteration. I'm a big date your donors alliteration. So Hug Your Haters.
It's actually a great book, but hey, it's
okay.
But a person has to be open to it.
I want to talk to you now because I know we came out with a book recently.
Thank you.
Yes, this is book's right here, right?
Yes.
A Practical Guide to Winning Relationships.
An art school
life
release.
Lessons for building enduring relationships through the prism of Torah wisdom.
Yes, thank you.
Yitzchok Saftlas with Benjamin Rose. This is an art scroll publication.
Yes.
Very nice. So we'll get this for the camera.
Yeah.
We'll get an official plug right here.
Yes,
But I read one chapter in here,
okay,
and I would love to talk about it because it really falls in the wheelhouse of things that I care about, and that is the when there's success, right? You don't just you sit back and say, well, that felt good, and then you take a breather, but rather when you have success, that should be the wind of in your sails in order to move forward onto bigger and better things. And when I think about when it comes to raising money and develop relationships with donors, the follow-up is the key. Yeah. When you do an amazing event, people go, oh, that was a great event, and they
now I'm going to Tampa.
Right, exactly. Exactly. That was a lot of work. I'm done. And the answer is, well, hold on a second. Everyone is totally hot after that experience that they had. There's great momentum going on. That's the time to strike. That's the time to put in the real work. And obviously, we all need vacations and breaks and here and there. But you need to have a strategy on follow-up. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about your experience with, when it comes to when there's success, whether it's an individual donor solicitation, whether it's a program that was a home run and people were inspired. What have you found to be the most effective follow-up to be? Because people all here, if you ask people in this room, if you poll every day school professional here, they'll tell you, oh yeah, follow-up is a problem. Follow-up is a problem. Because it's the thing that people not that they don't want to, it requires work, and it's on the heels of a major effort that they're already, tired from doing, and how do they move forward? So maybe share some insights on that.
So if I may, we're even going to take a page from the book of the corporate world.
Okay.
Trade shows, conferences are a major form of marketing in the corporate world. 80% of people that go to conferences, whatever they invest, fail in getting a real ROI.
That's horrifying.
That's horrifying. The stat is 80%. Why is that?
Yeah.
They fail at the follow-up.
Right.
They come, they invest a tremendous amount of money to do
beautiful
gorgeous banners, booths,
chocolates
etc.
on the table, get you to buy
everything. And they have a lead capture system in there as well.
Right.
But they fail at the follow-up. So that's like, imagine in baseball, you have a team that they get the runners on base. All the top three, they have an on-base percentage of 700.
Right.
But they don't have someone that can knock the runs home.
Right.
Almost like, it sounds bizarre. But okay, now let's apply that to the nonprofit world. The nonprofit world, let's say a yeshiva, an organization, you have a dinner. And there's a tremendous amount of work that goes in. And of course, you need to have that deadline, right? A deadline is, right, a dream with and you got to have...
Yeah, with no deadline, it doesn't get done.
Right. A goal is a dream with a deadline. Did I get that right? 1 second. A goal is a dream with a deadline. That's correct.
Yes.
A goal is a dream with a deadline. Okay. Now, yet, there's so much... Let's say yeshiva has this event. There's so much that goes into that event.
The production.
Okay. There is still a tremendous opportunity to still sail. Imagine the plane is flying. You don't just right after that. No, you got to continue to work it for the next few weeks. And in fact, there's a story here in the book about Ron Carr. Ron Carr was an incredible salesperson at a number of different companies. Now he leads a sales training a group. And what happened is that he landed a major deal as a young schnook, as a young kid.
Where was he working at the time?
I think it was Simplex Time Clocks.
Oh, time.
Yeah, okay. Simplex Time Clocks. And he sold something, I think, to the American Stock Exchange or something like that. And he was like, whoa, he got this
huge deal.
He got this huge deal. And the very next day after he got the deal, so his sales manager at the time called him into the office. He said, Ron, okay, what are you up to next?
What's next?
What's next? Now, Ron was livid because he was on a team with a number of other salespeople, and no one else, nowhere near. He landed $1 million contract in the 80s. Maybe it's worth, I don't know, $25 million today, whatever it is. And the other members on the team are hitting singles, and he crushed it. He hit this grand slam, and the sales manager called him in, said, Ron, what are you up to next? And he was livid.
Don't go to me. Go to the rest of the team that are underperforming.
What do you want from me? Right. I just landed $1 million deal, and you're upset. Like, what do you?
Yeah.
I said, Ron, have a seat. Are you on a high right now? Of course I am.
Yeah.
He says, do you realize the energy, the passion, what you can accomplish right now? You could break through any door, any wall. You can get anything done. Right. Ride that. The time to go on a vacation is not now.
Right.
He says, in a rut. You're trying for a few days, weeks, and you run into the ground. Okay,
then go take
some time off. But not when you're sailing, you're on a high. An executive director's on a high after that dinner. Ride the momentum. Ride the passion.
Make those calls you're afraid to
make. Make those calls. That's correct. You're sailing. Yeah. And also on top of that, remember, all the people there are now exposed to all the information that the school put out, the videos, the WhatsApps, the brochures, the newsletters. You have all the newspaper ads.
You have
ride the
reasons to call
momentum.
Someone up and say, hey, the dinner was just yesterday. I know you couldn't be there.
Right.
Take a look at this clip. I think you're going to love it. Like,
That's
there's
correct.
a lot of touch points that can
We
happen.
missed you there. Yeah. I want to send you the gift that we gave out to our donors. Ride the momentum. At least people are going to ask, hey, for how long? Probably, ideally, 3-4 weeks. Yeah. A good 3-4 weeks, ride the momentum.
Right. And honestly, my attitude would be, obviously when they ask you consultant how long, they want to get like GPS coordinates of how long. The answer is just start it and see how.
That's right. Ride it out.
Ride it out. There are ebbs and waves. It does come and go. And when you feel it kind of peter out, okay.
Then go on your vacation. Then you deserved it.
Right. Exactly. That's a very, very great point. I think that's a challenge that just follow up in general.
Yeah.
Appreciating it and the high. There's just the emotional piece of it.
That's right.
You are feeling really good about it. You can feel like you can accomplish anything.
Ride it.
Go for it.
Ride the momentum.
Amazing. Love it. Well, this is really fantastic.
We're out of time. Man, it's so much fun.
We can continue.
No. I don't want to take you away, but it's just like it's really special to be here.
Being that you are providing a lot of marketing services for Jewish education, Jewish schools, formal, informal education, what are some of the things that you would say are some things that they need to look out for, trends, things that you think are challenges that we're in the here and now? Look, the fundamentals are always there. We're human beings. We respond in human ways. How we communicate changes. How we experience things changes. What's fighting for attention changes. What are some of your thoughts as far as the state of the space?
So part of your question was the answer, as with all great conversations, and that is to focus on the fundamental. And the way I pointed at it is as follows. Don't wait until you lost control of your narrative. The number one issue that we run into is that organizations and schools, they of course are doing so much great work for their children, but they haven't taken the time, made the effort to focus on their narrative and to communicate it over and over again. In fact, Beth Comstock, who was the CMO at General Electric, wrote a book called Imagine It Forward. She had a lot of great chachma in there, chachma gaim tamen, and one of her lines was, strategy is a story well told. Strategy is a story well told. And every school, so many times the school will come in and say, you know what, people think we're this, we're that. They're not.
Right.
They haven't grabbed control of their own narrative. Now that is key. Now, no matter what it is,
it's part of the problem that there's some introspection that needs to happen to understand who they are. Is it just a matter of messaging, or is it sometimes I'm saying, okay, we're a school in Chicago, and there's 7 other schools. We are this flavor of school and this thinly sliced piece of the Jewish community. Do we have a clarity on who we are? And how much is them being able to try to communicate?
Great question. I may get in trouble for my answer here, but I'm going to say it anyways.
Good.
Okay.
It makes for good radio.
Okay. It's true that really a person, an organization has to look at at their foundation and really have a good understanding of what makes them unique. Yes. But here's where I'm going to kind of say, something kind of off the record. But I know we're here to date your donors.
Definitely not off the record.
Okay. The fact is, the key is execution.
Okay.
And that's one of the greatest lessons that was imparted to me by Rav Meir Zlotowitz, Zeichet Tzadik Livracha, at Art Scroll. There's a famous line that he has. What did Ravina say to Rav Ashi? We got to go to print.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's
Now,
great.
why is that so important? Is because it's an execution. Take a look at Art Scroll. Art Scroll put out over 3,000 titles. Now, Rav Meir Zlotowitz was a perfectionist. I know that. He wouldn't let things go out until they proofreaders and the team reviewed it. But at the end of the day, we got to go to print. You got to ship it out. You got to send it out. So therefore, what happened, the reason why this comes back to your question, we can't, every individual, every organization must avoid paralysis by analysis.
So you're saying it's more of an iterative thing. As they do the work, as they execute on it,
you got to get it out.
Clearer and clearer.
It becomes clearer and clearer. The truth is, yes, you have to do Soif Ma'aseh B'Machshava Techila. You really should, get a good understanding of the school. But then what's more important is execution. Get it out there. WhatsApps, direct mail, print ads, e-blasts, video-based marketing, so many different areas. You have to get it out there. You got to pound, because that is the key to getting your message heard.
That's actually interesting, because also, if the only way you're going to be able to refine your message is when the recipients are getting it and they're giving you feedback.
That's right.
Back.
That's
so
right.
If you sit in there and you're navel gazing and you're saying, "Are we this? Are we that?"
That's right.
Well, guess what? Put it out there, and you'll start seeing how people respond. Now, obviously, you try to do the best job you can with the research you have.
Right.
You get out the gate. You take that information back and say, "Okay, here's a nuance we weren't necessarily thinking about." And that's why a lot of times with marketing firms, they'll interview your client base. They'll
That's
interview
right.
Parents. They'll
That's
interview
right.
you. They try to get.
You want to get a good understanding. I'm not.
Right.
That's why I'm not. I don't want anyone to walk away. They say, Saftlas said, it's not important.
Yeah, exactly.
Nachas v'shalom. But what's even more important is the execution.
Right. That's great. Yeah, that is definitely a sodolum, I think. Yeah. Beautiful. All right.
We're out of time. Oh, man.
we could do this all day long. Look. But I really, really appreciate it. I mean, there's a reason why you play such an important role at the EDS conference, and I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the copy of the book.
Of
you
course.
even signed it for me.
Of course, with a personal message.
For
of
the
course.
camera. For the camera. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thank
Tremendous.
you.
Yashikayach. Thank you, gentlemen.